We're back with our greeting example. This application would be a lot more interesting if the user could add their own messages. Then our conditional rendering would actually be put to the test. Let's add a form that allows the user to add a message to the list. In home.html, inside of our resources templates folder, let's add a form element above our loop, where we'll add the text input and submit button elements. For now, let's assume that our model has a new message attribute, which holds an object with a getter and setter for a string text field. We can tell TimeLeaf to use this as the backing object for this form with the th object attribute. By adding a th field element to the text input, we can tell TimeLeaf to put the user input from this element into the form object, newMessage. We need to identify the correct field to place it in, though. For now, let's just call it text. Now, you'll notice that I haven't actually referenced the newMessage variable for our text field. That's because when we set a th object attribute on a form element, we can actually shortcut this rather than typing in newMessage.text. We can simply write text, and it will know that we're referring to the th object that encloses the th field object. Now, I've made one mistake, though. Unfortunately, we can't just use the same expression language signifier, the $sign. In order to do a field selection like this, we need to use an asterisk. I'm also going to add a few more attributes to the form element. First, I'm going to add an action and a method attribute. These are plain HTML attributes that define what URL the form is submitted to, the action, and what HTTP method to use for the request. We're setting the action to this pound symbol, which essentially says to the request, stay on the URL that we're currently on. This is just a template fallback. We'll specify the exact URL using another TimeLeaf attribute in a moment. We also set the method to post. We can't use get like we did to request the page initially because get requests do not allow a body, which means we couldn't send our form data with a get request. Post is the standard method for sending arbitrary data to the server, and it will serve us well. Like I said before, we need to add another TimeLeaf attribute in order to set the actual action for this form. The action, again, is essentially the URL that we are sending the form data to when we submit it. That attribute, as you might have guessed, is called THAction. We can use it with a special URL selection syntax that is prefaced with the @ symbol rather than a $sign or asterisk. We can tell it to send the request to our application's /home URL. Right now, this doesn't do much other than override the standard action attribute on the form. But this allows Spring to do some fancy processing of the URL if we choose. In general, we always prefer this way of specifying actions over the plain HTML one. It'll save you some big headaches down the line. And that's all we have to add to the template. When a user types in the text input field, that data will be added to the text field of the newMessage object, which is provided to the template by the controller. When the user clicks the Submit button, it sends the newMessage object in the body of a post request to the URL in the form's action, and the controller processes the request with the appropriate method. Right now, though, that method doesn't exist. So in the next video, let's go implement it.